We're going to try something new, okay? This is really nothing to do with the presentation or stuff like that. And you saw in your program there's a little thing called Slido, and where we're going to try to crowdsource questions, okay? This was kind of a last minute thing, not really prepared, but at the same time we looked at it and say, hey, we can try and see if it's going to be fun, or we can actually find out. Oh, that's it, we gotta, well, we thought it'd be fun. So if you go to slido.com and put in the number is K425, and you'll see a list of questions, or I put one up there, and I think Mike put one up there, just to kind of get things rolling and started. It's going to be open all day, so you can go at any of your time and check. Yes. Oh, K425, and just go in your browsers.
You're on your own.
I've been on my own.
No. There, buddy. That's Scott.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, moderator. Okay, go to slido.com, and the access code is K425. All right, what that's going to do is going to just kind of give you questions and stuff like that. And we're going to take a look at all the questions at the end of the day, and well, actually throughout the day. If you see a question that you'd like to want to learn more about it, just click on it. Tomorrow what we're going to do is set up this third room over here and have roundtables on those discussions, okay? The main thing is to make sure you walk away with this conference with at least one question answered, okay? I'm hoping you're going to get a lot more out of this conference, but you know, by crowdsourcing these questions and everybody wants to, you know, learn the same thing, this is an ideal way to do it. Okay, now for the presentation. Presentation is building enterprise AV IT systems in higher education environment, and I'm just going to kind of go through what we did at UNLV. The big thing is that we understand every university is different, the hierarchy, the funding, the size of the school, everything. So this is not a model. There's some components that you can duplicate in it, but it's not a model for every university. And we totally understand that. This is something that we kind of actually almost did it by accident. Okay, so we're not taking claim that we're so smart and everything, but we could see the path ahead of us and we just kept on moving. So okay, let me just see, are we turned on? No. That helps when you put the receiver in. Come on, recognize it. Oh, that's really good. Who lost the input? Put the check the transmitter. There it is. Yeah, the transmitter. Temporary stuff, you know. Okay. Oh, just trying to show you. Here. Now let's see if this works. Okay, technology, you gotta love it. All right, overview. What I'm gonna try to do is some of the basic processes and components that we've been using. You know, describe the model that we at Classroom Technology Services do. And we want to just show you some of the data that can be collected by having an enterprise AV/IT system. I'm just going to give you a little quick campus background. Okay, we got 180 general purpose rooms, 290 departmental spaces, you know, research lab, conference room, pretty much what everybody else has, okay? And specialty spaces, okay? And we got a total of 470 technology. That varies on a daily basis, okay? Register takes away rooms, it gives us rooms, you know, negotiating with departments and stuff like that. I don't know if you have that problem where your department will give it to their classroom with a general pool just because they can't afford to put technology in it. At the same time, they want priority booking on the room. So, you know, they're not losing much, but they get stuff in it. That seems to be a common thing. These are some of the images that of some of the installs that we have on campus. Classroom technology are what our team's responsibility, and you talk with Joe. Oops. Are you pointing at me? Just to give you an overview, we have, you know, myself, the manager, you know, I'm kind of I remove roadblocks and get them what they need to do their jobs, okay? We have a professional crews, everyone, I treat them as professionals. They know what they're doing, they know how to do it, and my job is to make sure they have what they need to do their job, okay? And it's one thing nice when you get a department that's all on the same page, because you almost know that they're just gonna without even thinking, and you know what they're gonna do as part of a project. We work really well together. We do primary AV design, consultation, and project management for all the departments. We got a programmer. We got a Rollo over there. Actually, he's our PC guy. Can you imagine having a computer lab with 160 computers that are not located in the same room? Okay, so that's a little bit challenging on his part. And plus, he does all our digital signage. And then we have a second-tier programmer. It's actually a classified position, but he likes to, he works our night shift, does the break-fix stuff and everything in the classrooms. And we run probably about 8 student workers. Our hours for our 8 to 10 o'clock, 8 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. Some of the services as far as our department, you know, with general classroom support, we run on help desk, web conferencing, lecture capture. We do all the technical support behind that. If you see Andy running around that, or any questions about how we do lecture capture, you can get with him. This thing has very, very something. But you can see all the other things, equipment, instructional guides, consultation, project management. And the project management has really been taking off. When Joe was out there talking about building relationships, that was one of the things that we really did. We built a relationship with planning construction and a construction crew. So anything AV, it comes our way. And the one easy way to do and get on that, building that relation, you just go to them and say, this is what we can do, and this is what you don't have to do, okay? So you will take care of all the AV, the bid process, the quotes, and everything, and feed it right into the construction process. So we're very fortunate in that way, and that's how we get into all these. I mean, we're from the ground up when they're building the rooms and stuff like that, or building the buildings. Actually, we have 2 new buildings on the books right now. So back to how it all started. When I got there, probably about 8 years ago, about 8.5 years ago, everything was kind of a disarray. Departments kind of like, my ex-director, well, let's do them a favor, we'll do that, and then they, you know, expect that every time and that type of service. So I just kind of blanketed, okay, we are fiscally responsible for general purpose classrooms, Okay, departmental classroom, we'll do what we can to help. Okay, we'll do service calls and everything else like that, but when it comes to fiscal responsibility as far as lamp costs, service or whatever like that, that goes back to the department. So we're not out any money, but we're out of resources. You know, we're spreading our resources thin, trying to service everything that we do. And it's kind of hard because we're on the design and consulting side of it, that we need to, it's kind of hard to hand off a system to them, here you go, and everything like that. Anything go wrong, you know, call this number, call the vendor to come back in. We manage all those communications, we manage the support and everything for the departmental rooms. One of the, I say developing objectives, but what really helped us was the standardization, okay? The AV standards designs, we put together a document to go to planning construction to be posted as this is the AV requirements, okay? It's a fluid document, okay? So it changes every year, new products, new technologies, new ways of doing things, usage of different components. Do we need to invest that, continue to invest that, you know, because anytime you change one component in a room, you know, that new document camera, well, you almost got to multiply that by 160. So it's not just $1,000 thing, it's a $160,000 thing. So keeping those standards based. Now, departmental rooms have different technology in it and stuff like that specific for them, okay? But we keep a baseline for all of our classrooms. So we were looking at the standardization. We standardized the touch panels. I'll talk about that a little bit more. Service and support. We run our own help desk. We don't go through the central IT help desk because we want to have immediate response. We have our telephone number, and there's a telephone in every room. They can call us and we will respond. You know, and our big thing is to, and I've been preaching this, and I think that's what everybody does, is eliminate lost class time, you know, due to technical failure. You know, if a guy's being a kind of a butt, you know, that's it. That's on him. Okay. But and one other thing we looked at you know, we adopted the Crestron. We drank the blue Kool-Aid, okay, and we adopted Crestron. At the time when we were looking at it, but I'm just putting it down, okay. At the time we were looking at it, we pushed all the numbers of, you know, between Extron, Amex, Crestron, and what we wanted to do with those components, okay. And if you think if you think probably 5-6 years ago when we were looking at, it was room view, it wasn't fusion, and things like that. So we were looking at what does actually cost us and what can we do. So at that point, we have to make a decision. You know, I mean, I don't know how many Crestron campuses are in here. Extron. Okay. Hybrid. Hybrid, okay. And see, that's where, you know, if you can get everything talking back and show the value of it, and I think you could probably convince them to building a system like this. And if you can show the return on investment, and that's one of the things that we're talking about, I'll be talking about is, you know, what data we can collect and different avenues you can go with that. Like I said, actually Frank put this in the presentation, we don't make mistakes, we just have happy accidents, okay? So actually we looked at what is going on. Okay, I tell you what, let me just do this. Okay, I turned it off. Yeah, I think I was totally out of it now. When I first got there, I didn't have any money or any funding and those like that. So I just started looking and said, well, let's develop standards. Let's look at our existing classrooms and start rewiring them and labeling and getting them to the standard. When I talk about standard, I mean, you know, input number 1 on the switcher is going to be the PC. So that's going to be the same in every room across the campus. Number 2 is document cameras. Number 3 is auxiliary. You know, so if I pull out a switcher and put another switcher back in there, everything should line up. Okay. So what we did, our programmer did, what our programmer did, he actually built a framework for the classroom to where his one program can be modified from the touch panel, okay, to be able to configure for that particular room. So we have one program that's covering all the campus. So, and it's all configured on the fly. So that's one of the more efficient ways to do it. Actually, Mike, you're probably going to see him walk around here. He's excellent source of, you know, Crestron. He's just close to being a master programmer for Crestron. And he's only been doing it for 4 years. So he's, you know, he's one of those sponges, young kids. He was actually a student worker of ours. So once we got him, we kept him. I just want to know how long I'm going to keep him because he's getting 6-figure offers all the time, but he just likes working with us. Thank God. Here's a little how we were funded over the past year, and this is where we found it a unique opportunity. If you look at all the numbers here, every time we were funded money, we were not promised any more money. This is last year, okay? So that was the thing, like, so how do we get to the biggest impact of our funding? So what we did in selecting the rooms, we actually did, this is how we select and prioritize the rooms. Went to the registrar, got the capacity of rooms. We went into my UNLV, found out the sections and how many sections, and we did that for every class that we were across all the general purpose classroom. Time staking, you know, looking those things up. But when we sent this to the planning, the director of planning construction and our bosses and stuff like that, we are going with these rooms, this is why, okay? As opposed to like, well, that's a big room, let's try this. Okay, I can tell you how many students is that equipment is going to impact. So we have to kind of like, we started going down the data road and trying to get reasons why we do things. The standardization. Y'all got to take the advocacy role for your classrooms because you're the ones that's got to support them. You're the one that has to design, build, manage them. So, you know, by setting these standards and standardization, you know, you can actually give it to your powers to be to just show this is why we're doing all these things. First of all, it's best practices. Well, it's industry standard. This is what we chosen, why we chosen, things like that. I don't like to go into meetings to where I can't justify what I'm asking for. And that's another thing too. You got to know what you want to ask for beforehand, as opposed to somebody coming to you. It's like, oh, we got $100,000. How do we spend it? Well, you always got to have that little list in your back pocket and say, guess what? I can get you a list of exactly how much it's going to cost by tomorrow, you know? So this is the program I was actually talking about standardization one program. This is actually what it looks like. And this is some of the back-end features that I was referring to. One is actually I can change any input. I can add an input to a touch panel or subtract an input. I can add more projectors, microphones. I mean, at the very left, well, I got a guest speaker. Well, we went in our design, we have auxiliary in and out mic level. So all we got to do is put a receiver, put it in the bottom of the lectern. They have an extra wireless microphone. And the controls are on the touch panel so they can ride the levels if they need. So that is just some of the features. Some of the other features are I can walk in there and I can get the whole statistics, IP addresses of every component, Crestron component that's in there. And one thing it really did for us was to help with our service and support. Okay. This is how many spaces we started with in 2011, 2012. And you can see how almost exponentially we're up at around close to 525. We actually have 420 on our campus, but we've been pulled into the new medical school. We've done that one. Now we're going into the business offices to configuring their conference rooms, and it's just getting more and more overwhelming. So actually, we're actually hiring a new system design person. Actually, should be coming on next month, hopefully. I was hoping they'd get here before this conference. We needed the help, but you know, hey, any kind of hiring process is like long. Here's some of the little graph that, you know, how our spaces did increase, okay, but our service call decreased, okay. By each time getting up, monitoring, well, first of all, you got this new equipment in there. It's all been certified, it's done to your standard, everything else like that. So yeah, all you have to do is really monitor the equipment and how it's working for you. So far, the Crestron's been pretty solid for us, okay. With the A+ program, we have plenty of spare gear. So actually that touch panel program that you saw and on the processor, we have one sitting on the shelf that's already preloaded. So if a touch panel, yeah, I'm still there, okay. We can change it on, the same thing with the processor. We can just pull it out and pull it in real quick. This is just showing the instant of image of our Crestron Fusion and how we're doing. This is we have mostly all the general purpose classes rooms on right now. But also we started getting requests from different departments like the School of Medicine, College of Science. These are hotel administration. Those are discipline specific classrooms, but they have a technical person. So actually what we did, we just opened up their view for their classroom so they can log in and do it. And they'll just see what their rooms are, especially with the medical school, which is actually way over on the medical district. It's probably about 4 or 5 miles from here. So, but we got everybody on. But we can, at the same time, this is running in the background. Well, it's actually running next to our help desk. Somebody calls in there, they can just kind of look up and see, oh, you're not on. Well, you can actually turn it on from here, or you can switch sources, or you can do all the different, functions in the classroom, as well as we're monitoring the temperatures of the projectors, as well as the hours of the lamp, and which will come up with critical notices, and actually has a, God forbidding, sound that comes out. We have a sound bar underneath our display, so it'll let us know if something gets critical. So we're still massaging that. What we did, Mike and our other programmer, they sat down and they just made for every attribute. With the Crestron program, we can pull who touched what button at what time of day in what classroom. Okay, we can cross-reference that material. So we're, believe it or not, okay, we've been still trying to get rid of VHS. Okay, we announced it. Yeah, a lot of people chuckling, okay. Well, a lot of people, well, what we did, we announced it. Okay, VHS is going away. The library, the big VHS collection, has all been archived. So they can't even check out VHS tapes anymore. So we said, as they fail, we're going to be changing them. And also, and we do change them, we change them into a Blu-ray player, okay? So we still have all those controls, but even if we change and swap those out, our program, to change and swap those out, all we got to do is just go to the back end of our program. We can select, okay, Blu-ray player, we don't have a VHS all the change and interface changes on that thing. And actually that programming also can be stored, that configuration of his program can be stored on the processor. So when you put a new panel in there, it's got the basic program in there, you can recall all the settings prior to it, and you're back up and running. So, yeah, these guys are freaky smart, but you know, it's way, I passed that many years ago. I just hired people that are really smart. Some of the data resources that we're coming from. Well, first is the Crestron Fusion, if you can do the global viewer, etc., as far as monitoring on the classrooms and the switchers and the peripherals that are in there. You know, you can get, Hitachi has a, Epson, pretty much everybody has a monitoring program, okay, of some sort, to where you can look at directly at the projectors, you know, temperature, the status of the projector at any particular time. We implemented the Sennheiser control cockpit, and it actually, you know, we have all digital Sennheiser microphones, actually these things right here, that actually we can find out when they're on, when they're in use, and the battery levels at that particular time when they're in use. So, and that's all networked back, coming back to one particular spot. Other things, well, actually, how we can get with Fusion, we can get time, date, and auto shut off, source utilization, kind of like how many times did anybody hit the PC, how many times did they, you know, and actually collect all that into one report. That's our big goal, is making this thing automated. But those type of things will actually help you give a direction for your department. You know, kind of like, if nobody's using the VCR, why do I have one? Or what is the most popular input everybody's using? Of course, it's a desktop PC. And then you got a lot of people in here that probably don't put dedicated PCs in their classroom. It's always, you know, relying on the instructor's laptop. There's pros and cons to each side of that. One thing nice about it too, he's got it set up on his ghost console so he can see all the PCs. And one of our biggest problems in all the classroom is the PC's not working. It's not coming out the projector. Did you hit the power button? Okay. that is probably one of the most common PC problems. So, but he can see that from the ghost console, and he'll be able to do that. Now, we've identified a lot of different things. Okay. A lot of different ways to get data and stuff like that. And right now we're trying to find the best way to combine it and report on it. And combine it and report on it so it's real time. Okay. So I'll get back to that in a minute. By defining how to store and to retrieve data, okay, one thing is, like, you got all this data coming in and stuff like that. Who do you give it to? Well, let me block the microphone, but our administration really didn't care what we did, okay? We have free reign of what we do, how we do, and how we run our department. Joe is a nice big fresh of air, trying to build relationships between the departments and our departments, and I think I couldn't ask for a better boss, really. And I'm there, he's not even here, so I'm not even blowing smoke. So what we did is kind of like, where do we put all this stuff? Okay, so what we did, we started year-end reports. We've been doing them for the last 6 years. Before we even started to do this, year-end report is simple: where we've been, where we're at, and where we want to go. And that was it. And we used the numbers and everything like that to show that. We got a lot of positive responses by this year-end report that we've been doing. And the last thing would be life cycle documents. Okay, we got the extra $100. I know a way to spend it. But you always keep that in your back pocket. Some of the examples was like HDMI and VGA. Okay, can you imagine if you just got rid of all your VGA and you just had an HDMI switcher, your prices would go down and everything else like that. So that is one thing where we're tracking is HDMI versus VGA. And that's pretty much where it is. HDMI just passed VGA, but still, there's still enough usage. And a lot of that is going to be for, that's the dongle they got, you know, to VGA. Okay, they got from the either Mac laptop or their laptop, they got an adapter to VGA, and so it works. You know, why not? Even though HDMI would be a lot easier. Another thing was automatic system shutdown. In our programming, in all of our programs, there are 3 different states that we can put in there, and to where I don't know how many people walk in at middle of the night and see a nice blue screen inside of a classroom and say, oh damn, they didn't shut off the projector again. Well, Mike actually went in there and we put a program in each one of the classrooms as part of our standard program to where I can, after 15 minutes of no source detected, the system will automatically shut down. After an hour of in pick mute, the system will automatically shut down. Okay. If there's inactivity over 3 hours, the system will automatically shut down. Now, when I say it's not just going to just blank off on it. It will come up with the warning, flashing around the panel and stuff like that. Your system will shut down in 5 minutes. Your system will shut down in 4 minutes. And it'll actually have a countdown on the thing. I don't know how he did it, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's 15 minutes, 1 hour. And so we actually track that in Fusion. All right, well, we got the numbers of, can you imagine if it was shut down, it wasn't shut down on a Friday. Okay, so it's gonna be on a weekend. If it's not shut down on a weekday, it's gonna be over, add 8 hours to it, and those type of things. So actually, you can take these numbers and convert them into return on investment by adding these 3 programs and to be able to monitor this. We actually took it to the next level, and actually we got the number of the shutdown, how much labor does it cost to change a lamp, average cost of a lamp. We got the average cost of a lamp, then the labor, yeah, and the time it would take for the student to go over there. You could probably, just by adding this thing in a number of rooms, and what we actually caught in real time, those times that where the system intervened to shut the system down, it's all tracked. We translated that into close to $100,000 a year saving in lamp life and labor and all those types of things. So this is just one example to where you can use the data and to show a return on investment of an AV IT system. Show the investment on what are you doing as a department, stuff like that. So the next thing was, what was really cool is life cycle. One thing we did across this whole thing is anytime we started a new room, as you can see in that schedule, we started it, and what we did is we documented everything about that room, every component, every IP address, every MAC address, anything we could get out of that component, when it was purchased, when the warranty's done with it, those type of things. We put it in a big, long spreadsheet, okay, big Excel spreadsheet. Well, we looked at it and said, well, if I just put one more column in there and put the average life of a projector, say 6 years or 5 years. We usually go 1 year out of the warranty period, you know. So say 6 years on a projector, cool. And then we can actually find out after 6 years, this one's due this year. And you keep up that, and also in that spreadsheet, you take, and as your standards are developed, you take the new model, say if I got Panasonic lamp projectors, I'm going with this lamp. So all your new models and everything will all be in your standard thing. So we can take, this one's due at this time and we have to replace it with this model. And it's just sorting the columns on your spreadsheet and where you can get these numbers and actually totals in a short period of time. So if somebody comes and says, oh, I need some life cycle data, you got every component into a sheet, you can sort it, you can do the life cycle, and then you can hand them a piece of paper. Joe, he asked me, he said, okay, well, I need life cycle. So far, we're not funded for anything this year. But I gave him a bill for $250,000. And not a bill, but an estimate for $250,000. This is where the projectors are going. These are the rooms that they're going in. These are the new PCs that I need to bring up to standard. These are the document cameras that we're going to the new document cameras. And I just handed them that list. I got it to them within probably 30 minutes. So just kind of doing the work on the back end really helps you moving forward. And the last one is really important, is kind of like, if you don't know how much money to ask for, they're not going to take it. Well, I need to replace. Well, how much you need? Well, let me get you that price, in a week or something like that. I'll sit at my desk and calculate all this stuff. By this, I can go to my desk and just do the spreadsheet. Here, this is what I got, and this is what I need. You give me, I might need 250. You give me 150,000. I can actually go back to my spreadsheet and say, and to the R25, and find out which rooms are the most used. So if I have to cut down and I have to postpone the maintenance or the replacement for another year for particular rooms that are not used very much, as opposed to heavy rooms that I can do. So you actually have a number, or you have justification for doing all this. It's pretty much you're just staying ahead of the game. And the results is what we do is, we get feedback on the user interface, the user experience. Our service is all combined down with our standardization, the data, the life cycle replacement, and we're trying to reduce lost class time, bringing it all together under our department. And that's what we do to support teaching and learning on our campus. So the last thing is just moving forward, and I referred to this a little bit earlier, but we continue to present the data in a usable fashion and easy to interpret, okay? Because that's where, if you're in a university setting or anything like that, data is king, okay? When I first got there, because I previously came from LSU, and then I went over to UNLV, and the first thing I said, okay, what data do I need to keep? Okay, how can we, what data do we need to keep? How can we present it in a way? 7 minutes, okay. All right, let me give you a little time for question and answer. But all the data and everything that we're keeping, all the resources, I said, we are looking and trying to set up Microsoft Buy. If anybody familiar with that, it's a free program. And if you go to the pro level, it's like $16 or something like that. What it is, it's just a dashboard interface, okay, that you can pull reporting from different databases. I can pull it from Fusion, I can pull it from anything that has a database and bring it up to make a graph in real time. And that's what we're playing with now. So we can get standardized reporting and standardized information across the campus. So the more you can standardize, the more you can just be proactive, and that's what we try to do. See, we were just kind of given the department, and here, it's to wreck, But we took that and turned it around, and we continually move forward. We're looking for new and better ways to do things, and hence that's why we've been coming to conferences. And this is actually, collecting the data for return is actually something that a lot of universities want to do, okay? Because they can show their worth. It's kind of like if you have your own programmer, and you want to advocate for having a programmer on your campus, how would you do that? Anybody, first you'd see, okay, how much am I paying for a program right now? Okay. And you can do that as a data. This is how much I'm paying for programming, and this is how much it costs to have a programmer on staff. Because Mike, he actually does all the programming and making sure it's standardized across the campus. So when we bid out a job or something like that, we hand them a compiled program to the vendor and say, here, load it. And then the same thing with, if you have a vendor do it, just make sure in your RFP process that you own the program and you have the program in a editable form. Because like Crestron, they'll just compile the program and say, here's your program. Can't do nothing with it because it's all compiled. Can't go backwards. So, so get all that stuff, and if anything, I mean, you could even have the programmer or everything be part of the RFP process to go over the programming steps and how you program it. I mean, you can put anything in there to help your own department. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that. So that is what we're using right now, and actually we used all this data for actually getting a new position. We're continually going with more rooms. I mean, I'm with the same 5 positions that we started with, okay? And it's 8.5 years, and I'm finally getting a new one, but I just kept on showing them the work, how much the work has been increased over a period of time. And I said, I need a new position. They said, okay, no problem. Yeah, well, economy's turned around and things like that. We have a little bit more money to play with, but I think from here on out, we're trying to just get better. I mean, it's one thing Frank and everybody does. It's kind of like, oh, let me look at your school. How are you doing this? Okay, good. It's like we're making makerspace right now. Let's do it one better. Let's not copy what you're doing. Let's take a look at what you're doing, and let's do it, take it one level up. And as you can tell by Frank is always this conference for one thing. Okay, he did one level up. But yeah, he's a good guy. We got a good team, very eclectic team, and with different personalities. But for some reason, we happen to work together. And again, Joe's a great addition to our play. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? And slide. No. Rohan and Matt were originals. I hired Mike and Frank in those positions. We have a public service intern that works 30 hours, part-time position. That keeps on turning over because we just get a good student worker and we give them the internship. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And actually, this is a presentation that we did at Integrated Systems Europe in Amsterdam this last February. You know, it's kind of like, hey, if you need to get a good presentation down and just start sending it out to these people, you never know, they'll invite you in. And the university supported us as far as Frank and I flying over to Amsterdam just for the conference, presenting for 30 minutes. But they have a section. We're just wrapping up. We have there's a section over, just like there is over at Infocom, over there, just for higher education. There's a little higher education conference, part of the conference. Here is kind of more like UB Tech, but this was just a half-a-day conference we put on our possession. presentation of AVIT. And actually we were selected over 200 different people from the States. So I thought that was a pretty good feather in our hat to what we're doing and how we're moving forward. So if you have any questions, not only with me, but from Frank or Mike. Mike's our program, Frank's our project manager, Rohan is our PC guy. You know, we're all here to, you know, answer your questions, but feel free, we're going to ask questions too. So it goes around. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you.